out of 10 cats. It's not Gavin or Stacy, it's James Corden. He's big down under, Jeffries, and their team captain, Sean Locke. And facing them tonight, TV's most dangerous critic, Charlie Brooker. She's got balls of steel, Olivia Lee. And their team captain, Jason Manford. Now, welcome your host, Jimmy Carr.
Hello and welcome to 8 out of 10 Cats, a show about opinion polls, surveys and statistics. Did you know, for example, there are 759 pubs in Britain called the Red Lion? My favourite is the Red Lion. An eighth of all liposuction patients are now in a bin round the back of the hospital. And in Sweden, an average of 10 car crashes a day involve the death of a moose, which is why the Swedes are such a good-looking race. Let's get started. What are you talking about? That's the name of our first round. We've teamed up with a leading polling organisation and they've asked the British nation what stories they've been discussing this week. Sean, Jim, James, what have the nation been talking about?
Is it the tragic tale of the Madonna and Guy Ritchie divorce?
Were you just wiping away a tear?
Yeah,
Sean?
a tear. It's turned out to be quite acrimonious.
She said she came out and said that he always belittle her in front of people. Last night, she played to 28,000 people in Vancouver and called him a retard.
No, emotionally retarded.
An emotional retard. Right, that's 28,000 people and like a few mates down the pub, just because she probably said, I'm an actress, and they all just pissed themselves laughing.
Part of the problem is her cabal of faith. Like, in her house, she's banned Christmas. I was thinking, she's called Madonna, right? That's like Captain Birdseye banning fish.
I don't understand the bitterness that people were displaying. Like, everybody's rubbing their hands together with glee because they're splitting up. Oh, look at them, they enjoyed 7 years of marriage, the failures. All the relationships I've had only last as long as it takes us to pass a reasonable-looking or even just clean man on the street, and then they're off clawing desperately at his back. So I just find it quite sad.
Well, don't go out with cats. You pervert.
Are you a fan of his work, the Guy Ritchie?
Yeah, I just find it odd that every Guy Ritchie film that comes out has on the poster, Ritchie back to his best, which, you know, was just sort of above average. In the new film, it's all like, what is it about to be a rock and roller? I don't shiver git.
It bothers me that she's a mum, and if you look at all her recent videos, she's always in knickers, and we get it, OK, you work out, you've got a good body. Pants, put a little skirt on, perhaps, a pair of shorts.
I think for her age, she still looks quite fit. She is 80, isn't she?
I think she should come on in an orange. Just her little hands and arms, like a promotion. You know, like when they promote a new drink and someone dresses up as an orange? Yeah. Why doesn't she have a bit of fun, have a laugh at it now? Yeah. Madonna's orange tour, she just comes out in an orange. Rolls around.
For the encore, she comes out as like a hot dog.
Yeah.
Voguing in it.
Yeah. A banana, face in a banana.
OK, let's see if Madonna and Guy Ritchie are one of the most talked about things this week. This is the continuing story of Madonna and Guy Ritchie's divorce. They used to have great nights out down the pub. Old, peculiar, bitter. Just 3 reasons why he chose to divorce her. OK, Jason, Olivia and Charlie, what else have the nation been talking about this week?
Is it the government releasing these UFO files or Operation Keep Everyone's Mind Off the Economy? Apparently, we're being visited by 11,000 UFOs or something. Only 5% are actually unidentified flying objects. The rest are like planes and stuff like that. And I think they can be sort of whittled down to 5% of people are mental. Yeah. There was one bloke who spotted a UFO land on a bypass in Somerset, right? It landed. 2 figures got out, dressed in black, and one of them checked the engine. Who is flying at light speeds to get here? One of them's gone, oh, cam belt's gone.
People never spot these things in, like, London.
Yeah.
Or Paris or anywhere where people are generally looking up at great things. Like, there's always someone looking up at the Eiffel Tower. and there's never been a single thing. It's always like Norwich. The only people they seem to target are people that are a bit weird with really shit camera equipment.
I've been abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
We all
Loads
have.
of times. I had to take out a restraining order. I put it up on my bedroom door. I heard them come upstairs and go...
What happened when you were abducted?
They said, do you know, where's Jimmy Carr live? We want to bring him home.
Let's have a look and see if UFOs are one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, this week the Ministry of Defence have released files about past UFO sightings. I didn't want to admit I'd seen a UFO in case I was branded a nutter, said one nutter. Sean? Jim, James, what else have the nation been talking about?
The American election?
This week, Colin Powell came out in support of Barack Obama, didn't he? Which was quite unusual because Barack's a Democrat and Colin's a Republican. So...
Sarah Palin, isn't it? That's her name,
yeah,
the woman. Yeah. The more right-wing she gets, the more attractive I'm starting to find her. Is that wrong? Like a sexy Hitler.
Isn't a sexy Hitler you, Jimmy?
I do not really get the joke.
Do you really find her attractive, though?
No, truly.
People say they find her attractive, but I think it would be like sticking your dick into a swirling vortex of hate.
That's what I want in a wife.
Last time you came on, you were sexually aroused by Barack Obama.
The whole... I am so into the election, I'm Sky Plus in the debates.
Yeah. I think a lot of the politics, James, is going over your head, though.
Charlie, you presumably you watch an unimaginable amount of TV. Have you watched the debates?
I did watch the debates. I watched the debates on CNN, which was mesmerising, because they had a little voter approval graph at the bottom, which was like a wobbly line hooked up to some Ohio voters, and they'd twist a dial. If one of them said something they'd like, they'd twist a dial up, and if they didn't like it, they'd twist it down. So there's this wobbly line going. And all you did was end up staring at the line. And then I was kind of thinking it would be nice if people had those approval graphs on their heads when you were talking to them, so you could tell if they were interested in what you were saying or not. And then I realised that's basically facial expressions.
Okay, well, incredibly, it's not one of the most talked about things this week. It's been in the news a lot, but not one of the most talked about. The US election campaign continues. John McCain has a purple heart from his days in the army. He also has a purple face and shooting pains up his left arm. If McCain wins, he says he'll start with a clean sheet, which he'll cut 2 eye holes in and then pop over his head. OK, Jason, back over to you. What else have the nation been talking about?
Well, we think it might be Omar Bakri slagging off the X Factor. He says it's against Islam.
That's because the auditions are held at Mecca, but he thinks it's the city, not the bingo hall. He's got a bit mixed up. I think he should approve of Danny Minogue, because she, in a way, is kind of wearing a burqa, isn't he? Yeah. If you look at her face, the only thing that moves is her eyes. It's like she's wearing a flesh burqa.
Flesh burqa.
She does, she just sits there and goes... Nothing moves. Even when she talks, her lips don't move. The thing I really don't like about the X Factor is when they do... You know, they do the same songs over and over again, so people do, like, unique interpretations of songs, don't they? So someone will go, I believe children of future... And you know, they do stuff like that with the song. And I think,
oh, stop it, Sean.
Stop it.
Stop it. Just...
I don't like the song anyway. You're taking something I hate and making it worse.
I don't like the little 4-year-old boy who's wandered on by mistake. The one who looks like... he looks like a fetus. He looks like a fetus of Jamie Oliver. They've been growing in a bag and they've accidentally let him out and now he's singing about his bloody problems.
That's what they should do with the X Factor now, because he's put a fatwa on the show, right? So I just say, execute the next person that's voted off, and then we'll just call it quits. Because when they're gone, they're dead to us anyway. If JLS go this Saturday, I won't mind if they're shot.
You could have a record contract. You, not great news.
Maybe Al-Qaeda have just caught on to the fact that to get any publicity in this country, you have to attach yourself to celebrity. They've realised, they've thought to themselves, well, obviously, that's the only way we're going to get any attention if we have a go at celebrities. I wouldn't be surprised if soon Osama bin Laden is releasing his own fragrance in time for Christmas. It's called, like, Infidel. Infidel. It only comes in 50ml bottles, so you can take it on a plane.
Let's have a look and see if Bakri's attack on the X Factor is one of the most talked about things this week. Yes, well, this is the story that fundamentalist Omar Bakri has attacked X Factor for being anti-Muslim. Talent shows have already had a fatwa. Rick Waller, he was a right fatwa. OK, fingers on buzzers. What else have the nation been talking about? Sure.
George Osborne he's got himself into trouble because when Peter Mandelson was brought back into the government, he released some sort of comments that Peter Mandelson made, private comments.
He said he's been dripping poison, I believe, about Gordon Brown.
In response, Nat Rothschild has said that he was trying to solicit donations from a Russian billionaire, the richest man in Russia, which every Russian seems to be.
He said he met him twice and on this fella's yacht, but he never asked him for money, he said, which I think is fair enough, isn't it? I mean, you've met somebody twice and you're on their yacht. How do you even slip it like, oh, what's its top speed? Oh, brilliant. How many does it sleep like? Can I have 50 grand? Like, that in?
I feel sorry for the Russian. He's a billionaire. He's got a beautiful yacht moored in a beautiful harbour. He wakes up in the morning, tells his butler, he goes, well, what's on the itinerary today? He goes, well, we've got Peter Mandelson and George Osborne coming on board. Are you serious? I want supermodels.
Yeah.
Scarlett Johansson and some floss.
And maybe a little dab of MDMA.
I didn't even know what an oligarch was. I thought it was a sort of sea cow.
What is
I
it?
still don't.
It's like the body of a lion with a horse's head. Let's see if it's up there. Yes, the most talked about story of the week. Fingers on buzzers, one more to get. What else have the nation been talking about? Jason.
Is it the pilot who's been accused of being drunk on the passenger jet and he was taken off by police? I thought I'd love to have been there, because police are always a little bit smart-arsed, aren't they? You know, and they're arresting someone like, step out of the plane, sir. It's your plane, is it? Do you know what speed you were doing? 600 mile an hour. Yeah, I know.
They're all making a hoo-ha out of it. It's automatic. All he's got to do is press a button. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
It's trickier than that.
You can't even work straighteners.
I did this with straighteners, actually.
GHD?
Yeah.
Yeah, did
The
you get the
thin
new ones?
The
Oh, my
pink
God.
ones.
The new pink ones are amazing,
Oh,
aren't
yeah.
they?
All right, got one. Come on, Jimmy.
I think this is a sad story, because you just think to yourself, is there nothing you can drive when you're pissed? Is this what it's come to? You can't drive a car, you can't fly a plane, a boat, a bicycle. I mean, what is there left for us?
Well, let's have a look and see whether this pilot is one of the most talked about things this week.
Come on, darling.
Yes, this is the story. United Airlines pilot was arrested on suspicion of being drunk. Despite the pilot being arrested and taken off the aircraft, the flight still ended in disaster as they landed on schedule in Faliraki. At the end of that round, Sean's team have 2 points, Jason's team have 3 points. Our next round is called Pick of the Polls. Sean? Jim, James, what do you like the look of?
What do you like the look of?
I like the man that's had 2 arms put on.
The man with the arms.
It's been announced that the world's first double arm transplant is recovering well, so we polled our studio audience and asked them, if you lost an arm, would you rather have a robotic arm or someone else's as a replacement?
This is the guy he had in Germany, didn't he? He had an arm 2 arms transplanted on.
But didn't he lose his arms in a shredder?
Yeah, he's a farmer.
Yeah, how do you lose 2 arms? Like, did one arm go in and you go, oh, I better get that back. Oh, now look what I've done.
Wouldn't it be a bit like sawing a leg off a chair? Like he lost a few fingers and then he thought that doesn't even out, so I'll just shove a bit more of this arm in.
Guy, when he recovers, he can do things like he can just go bang, hit someone in the face.
Not
go,
me.
Not me. Wasn't my arm. Bang, the guy was a nutter.
God, I'd find it so strange if I was going out with a guy and he was, you know, getting a bit busy, romancing, and he just said, you know, these aren't my hands.
What if, though, Olivia, he was getting busy in the bedroom, you're getting a bit amorous, things are getting heated, he pulls away, the arm stays. The alternative for this guy, as opposed to getting someone else's arms, robotic arms.
If I did get a robot arm, I'd want it not to be just like a claw, like an Abu Hansa. I'd want it to have, like, Swiss Army knife functions. I'd like a bottle opener, a corkscrew.
He wants a frying pan there and a whisk.
So, we polled the audience. We asked them, would you rather have someone else's arm or a robotic arm? What do you think they said? What are you going to go with?
I think people would like a real arm.
You think real?
Yeah.
No, because robotic works right away, but I'll take real if that's what you two want.
Real. It's real.
You're overruling your team. and saying real.
Yeah.
OK, I can tell you 75% of our audience said they wanted a robotic arm. If I lost both my arms, I'd probably just shrug it off. Jason, Charlie and Olivia, what do you like the look of?
We'll go with the Scouts.
OK, you're going with the Scouts? This week it was announced that the Scouts are to be given sex education, so we polled the studio audience and asked them, should they be given sex education?
Maybe it's being taught ironically, like, if you weren't in the Scouts, this is what you'd be having, you know what I mean? This is what the kids your age are doing while you're, you know, making fires and crying yourself to sleep in a tent.
This is what you could have won.
Yeah. Looking forward to seeing the first Scout with a fingering badge.
I used to be in the Scouts. In the handbook, they used to say, because Baden Powell didn't approve of sex, that wasn't what... Baden Powell's the guy who invented Scouts, in case you're missing it. And he said, if you feel like having sex, put your genitals in cold water and walk it off.
And then come to my room.
Yeah.
OK. We polled the studio audience and asked them, should the Scouts be given sex education?
Yes.
I think they look like a modern bunch.
OK, well, I can tell you that you're absolutely right. 81% of our audience think that the Scouts should be given sexual education. So, Scouts, in summary, a man has a gingang goody watcher and it produces gingang goo. So at the end of that round, Sean, James and Jim have 2 points, Jason, Charlie and Olivia have 4 points. The next round is Believe It or Not. Let's have a look at a clip to illustrate the statistic.
Nobody can tell me anything. I don't read Daily Mirror and so on. I go and have a look. And I've lived in the forests of North America, I've lived in the outback of the Ivory Coast, I've lived in India and Russia. I had my breakfast in Moscow and my tea in Wood Street, Nick. Yeah, I've been about a bit. I'm the only man in the history of mankind that has swum across the Straits of Johor. Nobody's ever done it before, not because of the currents or anything like that, nothing like that. It's sharks. It's not shark infested. But none of the locals go paddling. Yeah, I swum in. I know about sharks, yeah. I'm 6'3" and 16 stone, 200 weight, yeah. I know how to do them. You punch them right in the fucking ear hole and they swim off.
That was my dad. So don't mess with me, he's pretty hard. That was former boxer Paul Sykes there, talking about his life.
He's never left the north, that bloke, has he? No way. He punched a shark in the ear. He said, are sharks famous for their ears? Have they got massive ears? I don't recall seeing a shark. Like, ooh, all right.
Sometimes those amazing stories are true. Like, the time I was at a fun fair, I was on a roller coaster, and it was going down towards a tunnel. A guy stood up, right? His head was sliced off, right? And his eyes came off and landed on my ice cream. And that is... There's no exaggeration.
The related question is, 40% of people admit they regularly exaggerate to make their lives seem more interesting. True or false?
No,
True. Not that I'm suggesting for a moment Paul Sykes was exaggerating.
What I do, if someone tells me a story, I apply something called the exaggeration rate. So if someone said to me, like, I was on a speedboat and I had sex with Beyonce, I'd look at them, you know, for example, it was Charlie told me that story, I'd say probably what happened to Charlie was he was on a bus and he waved at Maura Stewart. So there would be...
That's my best anecdote.
60%.
You think that's 60% true?
See, for example, I have a Nobel Prize in scaffolding. Now, apply the exaggeration rate, you get the truth. I've got a spanner.
Do you exaggerate?
No, I'm a terrible liar. I was once going out with a girl, and after 2 weeks, she was talking to me about something, and I wasn't listening. And
of course you weren't listening. Some bird talking at you.
Well, and she got upset. So I told her that I was deaf in one ear. As a lie, and it's true. And I ended up going out with her for 7 years. And I could never find the right moment to explain to her that I wasn't deaf in one ear.
You should have waited for her to, like, slam the door and then go, oh, God, you fixed it! Just one day.
Where were you? Sometimes you have to exaggerate, right? When I was at school, I I had a bet with this guy at a school called Andy that I could get on Richard and Judy's phone-in, right, on This Morning. Never happened until the golden day, which was one of them brilliant days where we couldn't go into school because it had been snowing. The phone-in was on bullying. So I rang in, spoke to the first woman, and I said, oh, I'm being bullied. And she said, oh, should you be at school now? And I went, yeah, I'm playing truant. I just can't bear to go in. OK, someone will call me back. Then Denise, you remember Denise? Yeah. She called me back and she spoke to me on the phone. Stay on the line, you're the first caller on the show. And ended up talking to Richard and Judy all about how much I was being bullied. Right? And by the time I'm on air, I'm laying it on so thick, I start to almost cry on the phone. The thing is, Richard, all I want to do is a school play, but I haven't got the confidence. And he said, let me tell you something, James. You ringing in today is braver than any of them bullies do, and we, for one, are proud of you. I said, that means the world to me. Biggest lie I ever told.
40% of people admit regularly exaggerating to make their lives seem more interesting. True or false?
True, we think it's true.
You're going to go true. What are you going to go with?
False.
You're going to go false, OK.
False.
I can tell you the answer is false. Only 16% of people exaggerate to make their lives seem more interesting.
Yeah, but false as well.
I'd never exaggerate to make my life seem more interesting, as I was telling my dinner guests last night. Sue Pollard and Rusty Lee. So at the end of that round, it's 2 points for Sean's team and 5 points to Jason's team. And the winner is the name of our final round. Here's your first one. Britain's biggest annoyance.
Is it... well, it's either Jeremy Kyle's face or Jeremy Kyle's voice. The man, the voice, the face, the prick. That's what I call him.
What my mum does, which is this, so you talk to me, just say anything, and this is what my mum does.
Oh, hello, James, how are you doing? You all right, No, he's incredibly annoying. Could not be more.
That's my biggest annoyance, is my mum doing that. So I imagine that's probably Britain's.
I'll tell you what's annoying. That little paperclip bastard who comes up on Microsoft Word. You look like you're writing a letter.
Is it Australian immigrants? Well, I'm just hated everywhere I go.
That might be more to do with you.
Yeah. I think I know the answer. Is it when you're in the bath and the phone goes and you get out of the bath and when you get down there, there's always a little pause, and then it starts, "Good afternoon. You have won a prize."
You're absolutely right. That's the right answer. Yes, Britain's biggest annoyance is cold callers. I got a cold caller yesterday. It was my nan begging me to pay her heating bill. Next question. Most offensive thing on TV.
Is it Country File?
Is it Super Nanny? Because she can't fly, she hasn't got a cape. If all Superman had was bad diction and a naughty step, I don't think it'd be such a big deal, wouldn't it?
Acceptable. Acceptable. Oh.
I know what you find offensive on TV, because you've told me it's those Nazi documentaries when they show all the camps, because you were telling me about how it's all faked. And you had all those pamphlets you were giving me and all those links to websites where like-minded individuals discuss it.
Yeah.
He's always on about it, isn't he?
Yeah. Fighting and punching.
I'll give you that. It's violence on TV. It's the most offensive thing.
Yeah.
Third on the list was sex. Well, if you don't like sex on TV, you could always turn over, do it on the minibar. Well, that sound tells me it's the end of the round and the end of the show, which means the final scores are Sean, James and Jim have 3 points. Jason, Charlie and Olivia are the winners with 6 points. Thanks to all our panellists, our wonderful studio audience, and to all of you for watching at home. That's it from us. Good night.